It was just so different than what I've ever experienced in my whole life. And I knew driving away, we were onto something.
It couldn't have been a more fitting time for me to come and to hear the message, see how different it was.
You think they're speaking to you personally, like you're the only one in the room.
Shelley and I never even prayed together our whole marriage until we came to Southridge.
What made me come that week? And I really think it was because in my mind, I knew our marriage was ending. And I had decided, at least if I go to church, I know I've tried everything else.
I was a Christian before, but I didn't have the relationship with Jesus, so that's what made it new.
Be a part of the church by coming on Sundays, or you can become part of the church.
Seeing what it did to him, I could see that he was moved just on that first service. I thought, wow, there's something to this.
Can't even put a price on it. It's priceless. It's the money we spent in counseling, and to see this in our, this was in our face the whole time, and we just didn't look.
We finally found something that I've been searching for my entire life.
Before Christ, I was a little crazy. At 14 was doing things I should not have been doing, drinking, sneaking out constantly. I was assaulted when I was 14. Because of that, it caused me to look for love in a lot of the wrong places, and I searched for that for a really long time. I never had an idea of what it meant to live in freedom with him or have his grace. I had a very small taste of it, but I never completely understood it. I walked into cheerleading practice and I asked my friends where I could go to church, and they literally laughed at me because the way I was living had nothing to do with Christ. So one girl had actually invited me to Southridge. I showed up to Southridge on a Sunday. All by myself. I was lost, confused, lonely, young. I literally sat in the chair closest to the door, and I was gonna get up and leave once service had started. Somebody from Southridge, who had been here for a really long time, got up and came and asked me who I was and why I was here and kind of what my story was, and he literally just said to me, nobody around here sits alone, so he invited me to come sit with him and his friends. And if it wasn't for that moment, I probably would never have come back to Southridge. One Sunday, Pastor Troy said something that will stick with me forever, and he said, what a sad story it is to live your life forgiven, but never free. And that changed my perspective on everything. Every day I just feel so excited to really surrender everything I have to him, and whatever that means, whether that is a little bit of suffering, whether that's bringing joy to somebody's day, whatever that means, I want to be a part of it as long as he is the center.
Hey Southridge, isn't it cool what God's doing? I mean, it's amazing to be able to sit back sometimes and just watch the number of lives that have been changed ever since we started to right up to now. I mean, it's happening all the time. And so I'm just amazed by it. Sometimes I find myself in prayer or just thinking about what maybe is around the corner for us, and I get this overwhelming sense that God wants to do something really big. I mean, to the point where it kind of scares me, and it makes me feel like, Lord, I don't know about this. Can we do this or not? But and every time that happens, I get reassured that it's really not about what I can do. It's about what He wants to do. And if I would just make myself available, He would do it. And so that's what I think He has for us as a church. And so all throughout this time, we've been trying to position ourselves as a church to make the greatest impact possible in as many lives as possible. In other words, there's 180,000 individuals in Sarpy County, every one of them loved by God. And so somehow, some way for us to position ourselves as a church to reach the one, to reach that one marriage or that one teenager or that one single mom or that one uncle or aunt or whoever it might be, that God is passionately in love and He wants to use us to reach the one. And so what I'm inviting you to do is simply pray about being a part of the One campaign, to help us position ourselves as a church to make the greatest impact in the most lives possible. That one. And so I want to invite you just to pray about it, just to think about it. Say, Lord, could you use me to make a difference in Sarpy County? I think together we can. So let's go for it.